of course, today is the 7th of March, but tomorrow, as you may have assumed, is the 8th of March. Crazy, I know. So the 8th of March means we are going to have a TCG product stream, the big Wushort presentation, you know, the super stream that they do once every 3 months now. And as of the last stream they did back in the winter, they always now show the new restriction lists, right? So they basically always show the new restriction list. Fucking poutine these nuts in your mouth, god damn it. So usually on these, like, the big presentation streams, they reveal the ban lists ever since the last one. And while we didn't have any hits last time around in winter because there wasn't really much to hit, this time around, a lot of people are expecting to see certain hits, especially when it comes to V Premium. So in today's video, I wanted to, we spoke with chat, and we decided on some hits that we expect to see and don't expect to see when it comes to this restriction list. So let's talk about it, right? I think we can go in order of the formats where we expect the least to the formats we expect the most, right? I think that's probably the kind of expected approach in terms of what there is to talk about. So I'll start off with Standard. I think Standard is a nice little 0. The current, like, I keep saying this all the time, but if you're not playing Standard right now, you are missing out. If your locals is all about just like V and nothing else, or like Premium and nothing else, that's cool, but you're missing out by not playing Standard. The current, everyone for all of last year was complaining, Standard is just Bruce meta, Standard is just Bastion meta, it's never like, it's just these two decks, like Lord Earl came in and swept everything. Standard right now is in a state where when people ask me what the best decks are, I have to think for a while. I have to think like, okay, Magnolia, Barrow, Prison, Nirvana tops a fair bit, like, and it can go on and on, like Gravidia, like there's so many decks that you can go over, and like the gap between tier 2 and tier 1 is so small in that meta as well. Like the current set 4 meta for Standard is so healthy. It's literally the healthiest the meta has ever been, and honestly, I really hope that set 5 adds to this pool of healthy meta decks and doesn't just like warp it around itself. Like I hope we don't have to go through like 2012 PTSD. Like I know they're going hard on the nostalgia and trying to really go in with it, saying like, oh yeah, like look at this logo, it looks just like BTO5. Look at the Vanguard logo, it's not the Overdress logo, it's the original Vanguard logo, it's just like BTO5. So I hope they don't make this another just like BTO5 and make it so that MLB and DOT are way stronger than everything else and just destroys everything. That would not be very cool. So Standard, 0 hits, 100%. It's a very balanced format. Some people were saying like maybe Inlet Pulse should be looked at, but I think it's perfectly fine as it is. I think it is just a really good meta, very fun, very good, very pleasant to play, and I really recommend you, if you've been on the fence about Standard or haven't really been in the mood for Standard because maybe the set 2 and set 3 gap kind of turned you off from the format because the meta was too stale back then, I think that right now is a great time to try it out, even if it's just on CFA. Just give it a go. Standard's really fun. Then for Premium, I think for Premium, realistically speaking, I don't expect any hits. I think we're probably gonna see like nothing, but if we are gonna see something, I think Ginny is probably gonna be banned, just because like that's literally the only deck that kind of oversteps its boundaries right now in the current format, and basically Ginny's the one that enables your Alice's to pop back out, right? So that's probably gonna be the one that gets hit, but I honestly think they might let it rock for another format. They might let it rock for another format, see if it tears it up in Team League, and if like every single topping team in Team League is bringing, you know, Nightmare Dolls. And of course, I know a lot of people want Overtriggers hit in Premium. I personally would be pretty cool with it too, but I don't expect it. I don't think any Overtriggers are being touched in any format until the next like installment of Vanguard. So once we've moved away from Overdress into Underdress or whatever is going to be the next thing, right? Basically, you know, once the next mechanic and the next big whatever, like, you know, how like Striding and like Overtriggers and Ride Deck are, I really don't think we're going to see OTs go in any format until then, just being realistic here. So yes, Underdress, perfect. So then, of course, we get onto the format that everyone is expecting hits, and that is V Premium. So V Premium, there is one kind of like discrepancy, I guess, between the two regions, is that Japan and the West agree on quite a lot of the hits, but there is one that is definitely different, and that is that in English, we want Prisms gone, and in Japan, they want Melody gone. But you see where we agree. We agree that Bermuda gotta go. We agree that Bermuda gotta go. Bermuda been here for a bit too long. So I think, realistically speaking, the hits that we do agree outside of those is that Percival needs to be addressed in one way or another. Like, this is just basically a card that, especially in Japan, Spectral Duke is really popular and it's just been tearing up the whole thing. So I think that Percival is either... I don't think Percival's gonna be banned. I do not think it's gonna be banned because you're literally like... Keep in mind that Clan Collection with Core in it released not too long ago, and that is still on the shelves and they still want to sell that product. By hitting Percival, you literally tell that product to go eat shit and people to not buy it if they want to build Core. And there's still some people that will buy that pack to build Core. So I think that Percival is either going to be errata'd to only work with bluish Vanguards, therefore you have to ride it if you want to use it in any other deck, so it slows down Spectral Duke, it slows down any other Gold Paladin deck because they're forced to ride Percival first to get the extra Axle and then they can ride their main Vanguard, or you just play it in bluish, right? I think that's a good way to kind of restrict it, or it's gonna get choiced with Spectral Duke, which is kind of like the boring, kind of like Band-Aid approach. It's like, that could happen. A Sword Me-like restriction could work as well. You know, if all of your grade 3s are bluish, which then, I mean, unfortunately turns off, like, you know, it unfortunately turns off Max Slash, which is not optimal. But if that's what it has to be, I guess that's what it has to be. It's not great, but please print more bluishes, I guess. So then I think we get on to another pretty generally agreed hit, which is going to be Angels. So I think Hamiel, I've seen people in Japan and I've seen people in the West say Hamiel should go to 1, and now listen, before you accuse me of being biased or anything, I own 4 SP Hamiels, and Hamiel to 1 is not the way you fix it. Hamiel to 1 is recyclable. Like, you can use Hamiel, she goes to Soul, next turn you Soul Blast her out, you have a grade 2 from the first V set of Angels that can revive something from your drop if you took a damage this turn. Like, that is such an easy condition. Like, you literally use Gabriel's skill, Soul Blast out the Hamiel, self-damage yourself, that grade 2 is now alive, revive Hamiel, boom. It's like, okay, you used some CB in order to bring back the Hamiel, and your first 2 rescue checks didn't get to go on the Hamiel, but that doesn't tone down Gabriel enough to reach the power level of Clan Collection. Like, I think what you want to be doing with the V restriction list is to make Clan Collection be the new meta, and not just like, we all agree, like, it shouldn't be a gentleman's agreement that we all play Clan Collection decks. It should be Clan Collection is what people want to play, and that the future Clan Collections can actually be relevant to the meta. And I think the power level of Clan Collection is really, really nice as well, so I would personally be very excited about that. Because Hamiel is recyclable, I think she's going to be banned. And it's pretty sad to say that, but I just don't think that putting her to 1 does enough. So as much as I like her, I don't think she's going to get banned. Unless we see like a new and exciting, epic, omega, hyper, omega, super crazy new restriction that says once per game. You know, if they print once per game as an errata to Hamiel, maybe it's alright. Maybe, but even then, that the 1 Hamiel can be enough. The 1 Hamiel can be enough. So I think she's gonna go. I think she's gonna go, personally speaking. Then another hit that I'm sure a lot of people are expecting is Luard. Luard is gonna be hit, I think, and it's gonna be in 1 or 2 ways. And I think one of the ways is, generally speaking, more useful than the other. The least useful one, I think, is Karen and Owl choice restrict. So I think Karen turns on this like early game for Luard, where as long as you have 1 damage, which is if you get damage denied, you know, it's like, okay, cool, you don't have a damage on turn 2 for the Leofall into Karen play to set up your drop zone for the free Luard, but they can still then just next turn call a heal guard, self-damage, use Leofall, and then still set up, right? It's like, it's not that hard to set up efficiently. So I feel like Karen is probably going to get hit, because then you also, by hitting Karen, you take away the long game potential of the deck, and then they can't, like, you know, they only have so many of the, you know, the Luards they can go into in CB for it. Only so many CB they can use for Morfessa. So they have to be a lot more careful, and if not, I think the Owl going at least means they have to play Swordbreaker, which means they have to commit more CB per turn. But again, that doesn't bring the power level down to Clan Collection. That still keeps Luard at a much stronger power level. So I think the best hit for Luard is a full Bronto errata. I think by giving Luard the full Bronto errata, you say you get a force marker from riding the Drag Driver. but then that's it. Like, that's it. When you rewrite it to the drag heart, no extra force. And then you slow it down to the point of 2 forces per turn, which a lot of decks already make. So I think that's generally okay. And you do make Luard a little bit more just balance in general, to be honest. So that's the route I would like to see myself. And then we get on to the one that, this is where we don't agree with, you know, between Japan and the English scene, is Bermuda. So in Japan, they want to see Melody hit, and I think in order to hit Melody, you go with a nice little Meep to 1. So Meep is the very, like, consistent searcher that sets up your melodies in your soul, and I think putting it to 1 just literally hurts the deck so much, like it's just going to be a sacky 1-of. But I don't think we stop there, because then we don't need to hit Prisms specifically. Prisms can stay with their little package. Like, Prisms can stay with their little package, and they're fine to be, and they will still be fairly decent. I think we do a nice little choice 3. We do a choice 3 between Ellie, Aqua, and Lieselot. The reason why I'm saying choice 3 is because this way, instead of banning Lieselot and making the Bermuda Triangle trial deck, like, literally illegal, you instead say, okay, you can play 4 Lieselot in that trial deck, but you can't put Ellie or Aqua in it, right? And by being forced to choose between Lieselot, Aqua, and Ellie, it will also make it so that, like, if you're playing Anj, for example, you have to think, like, okay, how much do I value this Lieselot that I can call out of the Anj that calls me another card on all of those force markers? Do I value that more than a chonky recyclable shield? Do I value that more than Aqua, who can, like, give me that kind of bounce and that extra kind of, like, you know, like, toolboxing of my own field and my hand? So I feel like we're probably going to see a choice 3 restrict for Bermuda and a Meep to 1. I think that's the most realistic hits to V. But if we don't see any hits to V, then boy oh boy, we're in this format for at least another 3 months. The other kind of like stretch hit, I think, because obviously if you hit the top level of the V meta, then some stuff from the lower meta will take over, like Astropoet and Ground Blue and, you know, stuff like that. But I think that's okay, and like they were very drastic with the premium ban list last year, but I think they with V, they might kind of like slice layers off. So slice off 1 layer here and then slice off another layer in 3 months, right? But I think if they want to go for the extra, like kind of dig into the next slice, Navigator and Skull Dragon may be restricted for Grand Blue. So that way you choose, like, literally Skull Dragon then is slower, right? Or you have to play Navigator to have a big drop, right? One of the two. So yeah, I think those are my restriction predictions for this upcoming presentation. And if you want to catch the presentation live with someone translating in English as things get revealed, I will be restreaming it. So you can tune in to my Twitch stream, twitch.tv/DifferentFight. It's going to be starting at 3 p.m. JST, which for the European friends is going to be 7 a.m. in the morning of the Tuesday. And unfortunately for the East Coast friends, it's going to be 1 a.m. But for the West Coast friends, that's going to be 10 p.m. So that's actually pretty okay. And it's probably going to last a good couple hours. And I think Vanguard is a top batter, so we definitely want to tune into that as well. So yeah, those are my predictions. Let's see what they're going to announce. I also have a bingo board ready for the actual stuff they're going to reveal, so it's going to be exciting to see what is actually going to get crossed off or not. But with that, guys, thank you so much for watching. And before we finish off, I also want to give a big thank you to this month's YouTube channel members. So huge thank you to Crowned Clown, Very Flores, Platinum Wolf 2009, Christian, Kyrus Darkblade, Carrie Barger, Arcana Master, Tristan H, Martinez 67, Michael Lockett, The Real ZBD, Stogan, Gabriel Best Deck, for how long? Not sure. Preeper 66, Impact Monster, KSGG, Chris Branham, Mr. Turkey, Cardinal Joker, Blue Eyes White Tofu, and Zach S. Big thank you for your support to the channel for this month and the many months that you guys have been supporting the channel for. Of course, if you're not a YouTube channel member, some of the perks are, of course, being able to join my subscriber-only tournaments called the FRF, which are available for Twitch subs as well as YouTube channel members. So if you're interested in that and want to get some more practice before Springfest, that's a great opportunity. Anyway, guys, that's gonna be it for me today. Thanks so much for watching. If you liked the video, give it a like. Let me know your predictions in the comments as well. But otherwise, I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.